Hello, I'd like to make another video today. And that's because yesterday I found myself, and actually lately in general, I found myself talking about fun, like saying that the reason I'm doing something in work related is because this is fun. And I find myself being very excited. Of course, I've started focusing on something new, which is marketing. I've never done that before. And every time I do something new, it is very exciting. We know we get excited when new things, we get into them, et cetera, et cetera. So that's wonderful. That's definitely one way to keep the excitement alive is to continue learning. But there is another reason, is that I find that when I am having fun, everything just flows differently. And why fun? Why is fun important? It seems to be, or even to myself, it would have seemed to be such an unnecessary trait of a project that I was working on. You know, you do it because you have to do it, or you do it because you think it's going to make you money, or you do it because somebody else asked you to do it, whatever the reason might be. But nowadays, I find that I am not only very attracted to, but I only tend to focus on things that I find fun. Now, it's still work at the end of the day, so I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, et cetera, but fun is important to me. When I think about it, it's because generally speaking, we're having fun when we're being creative. So we find that creation is fun, in other words. And this is because creation, the reason it feels that way is because creation is what we do, is what we came here to be. So when we say somebody's creative, we like to think that only some people are creative and some others aren't. The truth is that that's not the case. That's how we've been taught in this society. All of us are creatives, with the exception that some decide, I've been told that they're not creative, so they've stopped searching for what they're good at or what makes their heart sing. But we are all co-creators. We are creator beings, and therefore, by definition, we are creatives. Just because you cannot paint or you think you cannot paint doesn't mean you're not creative. First of all, I believe that most of us or all of us can learn something. Now, some people might have more facility with that thing than others, like, for example, being a basketball player. I am never going to be Kobe Bryant, but I could become good at it and I could still have fun with it. And that's just one example. But that example applies across the board. Okay, just because you compare yourself to the top of the top in a particular creative niche doesn't mean that you're not creative. And it might just be that you've given up too early, or that you're just putting in your mind that that's just not your thing. But why am I bringing this up? Is because really the fear that has been instilled in us behind our creativity, that's been holding back our creativity, is ridicule. We've been associating fun with, it's all fun and games, meaning it makes no difference and it doesn't matter whether you have fun or not. It does not affect a project or your business or whatever, or your work or whatever you're doing. That is not true at all, because fun is a sign that you're doing something that's worthwhile and creative. I'm not saying that if you're not having fun, you're not doing something worthwhile. I am saying that if it is fun, you know that you are on the right track for sure, meaning that you're doing something that is meant to be done, that is good for you, that is making you happy. And happiness has value. We've been told that this is fluffy and it doesn't matter, and you can be a decent contributor in society without being happy. And we see the results of that. That's exactly what we're seeing around us at this time. Everyone, or most everyone, is miserable. But let's go back to this notion of ridicule, of the fact that if something is fun, it's not worthwhile, just because it is fun. It means that it must be something that, non-productive, that we do in our spare time. And maybe you're even feeling a little guilty and selfish for taking the time to do that. You really should be doing something more worthwhile. The point is that we've associated laughter with ridicule. In fact, ridicule in many countries, I think that this is really everywhere, but in some countries it's more visible than others, like, for example, in Italy or Lebanon, because I have a Lebanese friend of mine who actually told me this. when you grow up, you feel like you cannot stand out at all because the worst thing that could happen to you is be laughed at, is being made fun of. So there are very strict social structures and interactions that you must abide by. So from early on, ridicule, the fear of ridicule is drilled into us. Do not stand out, do not expose yourself, do not do anything that would single you out. And what is going to single you out more than being, for example, artistic or creative? This is also one of the reasons why artists feel like they have to, for example, not make money. Like they have to prove this is a passion for them by not making money, because they're afraid otherwise they're going to be judged based on the typical judgment terrain of work and projects. Because all of a sudden, if they're making money, they're being compared to somebody who's making money, say, as a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or whatever. That's my opinion, of course. I think there's a lot more that goes into that. But what I'm trying to talk to is the feelings that we incorporate from the society that we live in, and that we don't realize we are absorbing and bringing into our reality. And then basically making our way around these little obstacles of trying to be acceptable and trying to do things that we think are going to fly under the radar. Now, just to bring home how killer it is, what ridicule can be. There was even a movie made several years ago. I don't even remember. It must have been over a decade ago, with I think his name is Robert Downey Jr. It's called Ridicule. And it talks about the old French aristocracy, and I think it was the 17 or 1800s. It is an amazing movie. I don't know why it's not more famous, more popular than it is, because I think it's a gem. And this movie starts with a scene. The opening scene of this movie has this woman in her palatial house who is, she's clearly aristocratic, very rich, and she is hosting all these people who have come to stay at her house, and I think even tell her how sorry they are that her husband had a stroke and he cannot move anymore. He's sitting in a wheelchair. And there is this man who's played by Robert Downey Jr., who kisses her, says, "Oh, I am so sorry. Yes, how are you doing?" And it says, "Can I go and see your husband?" So she says, "Fine, go ahead." He goes into the room in the back, meets her husband, and while he cannot move, he cannot talk, he basically pees on him. And while he's peeing on this man, which is a harrowing scene, I could not believe it. I was in shock. The man, you can imagine, he's like furious, but he can't move, he cannot do anything. Robert Downey Jr.'s character tells him that it's because of this one time when this man who's sitting in a wheelchair had ridiculed him. And ridicule is the line between life and death in that society. If anything could happen to you. Somebody could challenge you to a duel and it would be fine and you would be okay. And you could hate somebody and it's fine. It goes the way it goes. Maybe the other person's more popular or whatever. But if you're ridiculed, it's over. You're done. Your career, your life is done. You could be shunned. You could be poor forever. You could be cut off. Your entire family could be affected. It's a big deal. And I thought that is, even though it seems like, oh, that is so far away ago, even if it was real, maybe it wasn't, I found that that's exactly how we live. We are afraid. We have the tall poppy syndrome. We are afraid of standing out. We are afraid, deathly afraid, that someone will laugh at us or will not take us seriously, because not being taken seriously by someone else, it's the difference between life and death. So I hope this resonates. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. This is just my opinion. But if you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, because I would love to hear what you think about it, one way or the other. Thank you, and bye-bye.